Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today I am taking a look at Madic and go from there. We might look at ADA as well and do some coins that I haven't really touched on lately. So, looking at the price of Madic, I'm really liking it. The reason why is because it is beautifully holding above. Well, there's actually a lot of reasons, but the big reason for me right now is it's holding above the bull market support band. It's testing it and testing it again, which is a good thing. So this is the weekly chart. If I zoom in, let's go down to the 2-day chart. You can see the price is wicking off of the bull market support band. So if you're new to the channel and you're not too sure what that is, it's basically when the price is above, it's bullish. When the price is below, it's bearish, right? If it's below it, it acts as a resistance band. When it's above it, it acts as a support band. So since the price has started to bottom out, right? We had an impulse off the low. We sliced right through it, and now we're consolidating and retesting the band. So let's kind of go over the beginning of what happened here. So if I zoom all the way out, pretty much it all starts with a consolidation base. Now, this occurs with a lot of coins. If you look at Theta, if you look at XRP, it usually starts with some sort of accumulation base. If you look at Chainlink, if you look at I think ADA, there's a lot of different coins that have this sort of accumulation box, and I look at this as your base. So you know what they say: the bigger the base, the higher in space. We had a beautiful base of support, and then Houston, we have liftoff. We took off. It was one of the best performers, right? I mean, it blew the socks off of everybody. I didn't get to enjoy this ride up, but I know a lot of people who did, and more power to them, right? So it's a good thing when you have not just one or two, but multiple winners in this crypto space, and I believe going forward we will continue to have multiple winners. So basically we had a base, we exploded to the upside, and now all of this is just basic, just one big correction. That's basically what it is. Now, to figure out what kind of correction, well, it really depends on how you look at it. So for me, I go by the 5 phases of the market. So if you look here, Madic was one of those coins that set a high, and then it came up and set another high. But this high was corrective. So it was a false breakout. This wave right here that broke this high, that made a new all-time high, this was a corrective structure, right? So I'm looking at this as very simple. This is an A, this is a B, and all of that is a C. Okay, so if that's an A, B, C, right, then it looks like, the correction could be completed. So we have a 1, 2, right? This is 3, 4, and then 5. Then we have an ABC. So then what the heck is going on over here? What is going on over here? Well, to put it simply, we could potentially have a 1 and a 2. And now we're setting up for a 3, a 4, and a 5, right? I don't know how high it's going to go. We'll talk about targets later, right? But something like that, where you have a 3, 4, and a 5. Well, actually, let's figure out the target right now, shall we? If I just put a Fibonacci simple tool, everybody knows this, but on linear scale, I would expect a 4.236 extension. Now, this is idea number one. This is not to say that this is going to happen. This is an idea. This is an idea number one. Anything I say is not financial advice, but you're looking at $11.21 for a full 4.236 Fibonacci extension, and that is not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, Bitcoin did it, Ethereum's done it multiple times. Many different coins have done it. So and Madic is one of the powerhouses. Polygon, it's a powerhouse. I look at Madic as a powerhouse crypto. I look at it like it's going to be around for a while. I think this coin here definitely will be one of the winners. Definitely will be one of the winners. In my opinion, you can never say definitely, right? Because look at Luna. Everybody thought Luna, right? But not me. I looked at Luna and I'm like, it had its issues. I won't get into that, but Madic, to me, has been flawless. So, I think it's got long-term sustainability. So, and for crying out loud, you had a president of the United States built his NFTs on the Polygon network. I mean, come on, if that's not validation, I don't know what is, right? So, okay. So there's your count number one, right? And basically what that is consolidation, impulse to the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C correction. Then we have a 1, 2, and now we're setting up for the third, the fourth, and the fifth. So very possible, right? And that gets us up here, I would say, between $7 and $11, right? So if you want a conservative target, I would look at this right here, about $4.50. So between $4 and $4.50, that's a good take profit conservative zone for me. That would be a good target to have. Now, if I'm a hodler of Madic, I never sell 100% of it, right? I usually, if you're dollar cost averaging in, you want to dollar cost average your way out. So, there's multiple different ways you can do that, right? But for me, it's between 50 and 65% at this, this full point 236 extension, right? So what that means is, if I have $100, right, I'm allowed to get rid of $65 all the way up to here. And I'll never get rid of the remainder, right? Because again, it can come down and shoot right back up, right? You just don't know. But that's why we rely on the technicals to figure it out. So there you go. That's idea number one. This is a bullish structure, right? And basically, if you zoom all the way out, basically what this is this whole thing from here all the way here, that's a wave one. So all of this is wave one, all of this is wave two, and then all of this is wave three. And then we would get wave 4, and then we would get wave 5. So what we're looking at is the macro wave count, right? So we're in some type of wave 3, which is one of the most bullish times to be in crypto, is a wave 3. So there you go. So taking all that off the screen, what else can this be? Well, to understand what I'm about to tell you, let's look at a different asset. I'm going to see if Litecoin has that example that I'd like to show you. So let me take all that off. Well, let's look at Bitcoin. So this is just an example of the 5 phases of the market, right? So typically you have a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, blast off. Again, you have a bull market, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, blast off. And usually the reaccumulation is some type of sideways thing going on, right? Before you have that big blast off move. So a lot of people, they're bullish, bullish, bullish. Then we have a bear market. And then this right here, everybody gets very bullish, thinking we're going to do this, but all this is a retracement. And then we come back down for reaccumulation. We reaccumulate, the whales reaccumulate, right? We're holding the low, low, higher low, right? And then we go. Here's another excellent example of the 5 phases of the market. And I'm going to circle back to Madic, and I'm going to tell you why I'm so bullish on Madic according to what we see. Because the whole thing of crypto, right, is the big thing is when moon. When are we going to moon? That's the big question, right? The big question is, when does my portfolio finally pay off for all my due diligence, all my research, everything I've done, I put into it, all the money I spent, all the hours at work that I've been working week after week at my job, taking that money, my hard-earned money, putting it into an asset, giving it faith and conviction, knowing that it's going to one day pay off. And that, my friends, is why we're here, is for the payoff. And this is just torture, and this is the payoff, right? Okay, so we have to figure out, for Madic, when is the payoff? And we have to figure out for Madic, when is it going to do that? Well, usually when assets do that is after phases. And the phases are, like I just said with Bitcoin, right? You have a rise, a crash, a retrace, a reaccumulation, and then you kind of go into this sideways area, right? And then you blast off. So rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, then you blast off. And that's usually how it goes, right? Now, if you look at the XRP price where we are today, is, off topic, but this is why I'm so bullish on XRP at the moment right now, is because it's already completed all of the requirements that I need for us to have a big moonshot, right? And what that is again, you have a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, and then you have your sideways box. There you go. So zooming out, you can see both little areas, right? And I'm going to apply this to Madic. I just did it with Bitcoin as an example. I'm doing it with XRP as an example. I can do it also with Ethereum as an example, but I think you get the point. I can do another few other assets if you want, but I'm just going to stick with 2 just so that you understand, what it is. So basically, a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, blast off. And that's the whole point, right? So that's what we want to see. So now let's go to Madic. And remember, this is idea number 2. I gave you idea number 1, which is an impulse wave, and we'll summarize at the end, but this is idea number 2. And basically, idea number 2 coincides with idea number 1, just looking at it differently, right? So let's see if that's the case here. So check this out. So even, actually, let me go down to the daily, and I'm going to show you an example on Madic, but back in the day, right? So, okay, so now we understand the 5 phases. So first phase, we have a rise, check. We have a crash, check. We have a retracement, check. And then we come down for reaccumulation. And, down here, reaccumulation, and then we go sideways. Check. So we have all the check marks, right? And then what that ended up happening is a blast off, just like with XRP. That's why I'm like, that's why XRP is one of my biggest positions, because of that reason. But Madic also, looking at Madic, now let's see if all those requirements, I showed, 3 examples, Bitcoin, XRP, and Madic back in the day. Now let's see if we have that same thing here. So the issue that I have with Madic, right, is this. Because a lot of people will look at that as an all-time high, but I look at this as a correction. So we'll do two different examinations, right? So let's say this is your all-time high, this is your crash, this is your retrace, and this is your reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways. Done, 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 right? I mean, look at that. There you go, right there, right? So you have a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then look at this. Low, higher low, right? Rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, made a low, came back up, right? Reaccumulation in this box, then came back down to test it, right? Bottom, double bottom. And this was the big thing for me, is this right here. Is this, all of this, double bottom, right? And then following that double bottom, which by the way, this was a Wyckoff accumulation structure, right? There was your spring. We accelerated to the upside. We got resistance by the bull market support band. We busted through it, and now look at this. We have some type of A, B, C, like a running flat or a flat pattern, or some type of flat pattern, kind of like how Bitcoin is doing it. And a flat pattern can be extremely bullish, right? You have an A, B, C. So it's sort of like, for example, instead of an A, B, C like that, right? A, B, C. It's more of an A, B. It's like a running structure, right? So the three waves is like this rather than like this, what we're used to seeing, and that can be very bullish. And then following this C wave, right? And we could be right there. We could be almost done, right? So we have one. Obviously, this is A, 3 and B, right? So A has 5 waves. We got 5, 3 for B, and then 5 for C. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we get one more down, retest that bottom of that band, or maybe it's done now. Not sure. We'll talk about that too. And then looking for much more upside to go. But that's basically what I'm thinking for the short term, right? And I'm going to circle back to my idea number 2 on the macro, but kind of jumping around a little bit. We wanted to see this. That's our last point, right? So we broke out, and we have a lot of wiggle room, right? We have support on the bull market support band. If we break that, then we want to come down and back test this 58 cents area, because look at this. This was a sideways base, right? Accumulation, accumulation, accumulation. We break out, then we can come all the way back down and back test the top of it, prior resistance, to make it the new support, and then continue higher. So right now it's at 84 cents. If we drop down to 50 or 60 cents, it's still going to be very bullish, depending if we hold it. And I think we will hold it, right? So those are the two options I see for Madic, right? So again, for the short term, right? For the short term, we have A, B, C, hold support somewhere in here, somewhere in this area, and then we continue to rocket to the upside, right? And then what that would be, right? Also, you can look at that as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then wave 2, and now we're going in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again, right? So this whole thing would be 1, 2, and now we're in their third wave. So we have to wait and see when we really get that big impulse. But right now, you could see sideways consolidation right here. You can see all that sideways consolidation above the bull market support band. That tells me buyers are defending the level, which is a good thing. Okay, so that's sort of the macro, or the short time frames, what could potentially happen. So right now I'm bullish. If we break below this bull market support band, we have support down here at 60 cents and 57 cents. But that would be it, right? For me, if we break below 57, then we're probably going to break this 49 cent too. So we have to, when that time comes, if it does come, I don't think it will, but if it does, then we can go back and reevaluate. But for now, I'm looking at this as some type of running correction, right? And we're gearing up to get the heck out of here. Okay, so that's the short time frame. Now let's look at the bigger time frame, right? And to summarize, idea number one was this was a 5-wave, A, B, C, 1, 2, and now we're in 3, 4, 5, right? Idea number one. Idea number two suggests that this is a rise, a crash, a retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and we're getting ready to blast off. Now, all of those ideas I just shared with you all sort of give confluence to each other, right? So now you kind of know why I jumped into the micro count before I finished the macro count, is because what I shared in the micro count definitely rhymes what's happening on the macro. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. Basically, overall, is we're getting ready to get going here. So what's idea number three? Idea number three says this is also a rise, this is the crash, this is the retracement, and this is the reaccumulation. So we got a little bit of time, but basically it's just another way you could look at it, right? So let me actually go up to the higher time frame. So just same thing like I shared with Bitcoin, XRP, right? And the small Matic, or the previous Matic fractal, which is a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then blast off. So that's sort of my main idea here, which is a rise, a crash, a retrace, a reaccumulation, and now we're going sideways. The question is this the rise, this is the crash, this is the retrace, this is the reaccumulation, and now all of this is the sideways reaccumulation, right? So either way, it's the same. It just might take a little longer depending on which one it is. So all in all, I'm extremely bullish on the price of Madic. Trying to think, what else could this be? One thing I would do is I would take this trend line and I'd put it right here and I would watch for it, right? Let's see if we can break above this trend line right here. So we could also have a contracting triangle, in which case we could see an A, a B, a C, a D, and now we're in that final, guys, this is bullish. This is another great idea, E, right? That final E wave before the big blast off, right? So now each wave has 3 waves, so let's see if we have 3. Well, you could say this is 1, 2, and then we come down for 3. Now 3 can come all the way here. It could be already done. It could be already done, or it can come way down here, or somewhere in this vicinity, right? Right? So there. So, and then we get that big moonshot out of there, right? Or if we're not going to count that flat, you could say this was wave 1. Now we're coming up into wave 2, and then later on we'll get wave 3, and then we get that blast off. So I think we're right at the finish line, and I can prove it. Everything I just said, right? We have the rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We have the contracting triangle. We have also the Elliott impulse count, right? So they're all rhyming with each other. Now going back to XRP, check this out. I like to compare it with XRP because it looks a lot, similar in regards to this impulse, right? So you saw Madic, right? It had this base, it had this impulse, and now it's in this sort of wave 4 correction, and we're just waiting for it to go, right? But the difference between XRP and Matic is look how big this thing is. This thing is a monster. This thing has been going sideways for 6 years, or actually longer than that. So, you know, the bigger the base, the higher in space, right? So it's setting up to be a massive thing. But anyways, I'm looking at the same thing, right? If you go here, same thing with Matic. You have an A, a B, a C, a D, and this was your E, right? And then right here you have your contracting triangle, just like Matic, right? And then also, just like Matic, you had your rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, and then you had your blast off, right? Well, we don't have the blast off yet, but I think it's coming very soon. And then interestingly enough, you have that same exact phenomenon happening here. A, B, C, D, and now we're in E, right? And the same thing happening with Matic, where you want that that 3 waves, right? Every wave, every A, B, C, D, right? All the waves have 3. So 1, 2, 3. We get that third wave. It could be already done now. We don't know. That'll be a different video for more of the micro stuff. But basically, this 3-wave move, we get out of here and then we go. It's sort of how I'm looking at it, right? Just like back over here. So, and then also you can see sort of this little channel in here, right? Sideways channel, same thing over here. You have this channel in here, right? So yeah, looking at this, right? You know, let me get that triangle in there. So something like that, right? And then I go back to Matic, same thing. Same type of pattern, same type of structure, right? So again, I think that's why I like Matic and I like XRP, because it's one of those coins that are on the finish line. Same thing with Quant, QNT. Now a lot of other coins I can show you, like for example, like Ethereum. You know, you could say that this was also rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, right? And that could be the case too, and then we continue to go. But when I look at coins like maybe like Engine or things like that, I don't consider this as the way how deep it fell. I don't have a retracement. I mean, this is the preemptive retracement, but if you see here, we have a rise, crash, and now we're probably going to go up for a retracement, but then we still need the reaccumulation, we still need the sideways, right? And then we can go kind of like a cup and a handle, and then we can go. But for example, like Matic is already here, XRP is already here, QNT is already here, right? Yes, this coin can go way up here, but I think it's just going to be a retracement. I mean, obviously it can turn into something bigger and we can break out of here, right? But in that case, you would look at this as a rise, crash, or sorry, a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. All of this is reaccumulation. It's just different, right? But to me, you sort of need a retracement first, then come back down, because you have this sort of accumulation box. You break above it. You want to come down and consolidate above this box, right? So you break out, back test, then go. And back testing, it can be a long process, because it's basically like back test accumulation. You're reaccumulating the first box, so to speak. A good example also is Link, right? So Link, why would I buy Link when it's not done yet? So you have a rise, a crash, a retrace, but then we still need reaccumulation, and then we need sideways, and then we can go like a cup and handle, like that contracting triangle, like an A, B, C, D, E, and then we can go, right? So Link is barely over here, but Matic is over here. So why would I hold Link when I can hold XRP and Matic? You know what I mean? So that's why I like to look at the phases of the market to figure out where we are in the correction, where we are in the cycle. For example, here is Quant, QNT. You know, you had your little base, you have a rise, you have a crash, you have a retracement. This is what I'm looking for, a retracement in that the Link, right? Link is right here. So we have a retracement, then you come down, then you go sideways, and then you break out, right? So Quant, Matic, XRP, they all look like this. Now, I will give the benefit of the doubt. XRP is the biggest structure. It is the biggest of them all, right? I mean, the thing's going back years. This thing is only 843 days, so 369, so not even 3 years, right? Not that long at all. But XRP, you're going on 6-7 years there, so much bigger structure. And Matic, same thing. So for example, here's Sandbox. Here's another example, right? Now it's possible that it can go like this and continue going up. It's totally possible, right? I mean, remember, this is not financial advice. I could be totally wrong on everything I say. But according to previous history and everything that I've talked about so far, I've been right. And this right here is another example. Yes, this is a 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here's your 2. And then you can go up and make another. That's definitely possible. Or you have a rise, a crash, and now we're going up into a retracement. Then we come back down for reaccumulation. Then we go sideways, right? So like this. And then we go. And that's kind of like a triangle, right? It sort of shapes into a triangle, an A, B, C, D, E, and then we go, right? So, for example, again, Matic is already over here. Quant is over here. XRP is over here. So what I'm doing as an investor, as a hodler, I don't care about the coins. I care about percentages. I care about how fat my percentage can get, right? And I base that off of where the coin is in the cycle. Like Dogecoin is already there, right? I mean, it already completed it, right? But for like Sandbox, it still has to go all the way up, all the way down, and then sideways, and then go. Now, again, it can continue rocking it to the upside. And you say, this is supposed to be a Matic video, but to understand Matic, you have to understand, what I'm trying to explain in the other charts, because they all have different phases, and I'm showing those phases in examples so that we can apply that to Matic, so that we can know, is Matic where I want to be saturated in, or maybe not so much. And to come to the conclusion, it's one that I would suggest, not financial advice, but my friend would be saturated in. So yeah. And unless, of course, it looks kind of like this, where you have sort of you have this sort of Wyckoff pattern. So you have it's not a lot of detail. This is SHIB. You have an impulse, right? You have a crash, but then you just go sideways, right? So you never got that retracement, and that's okay. But as long as you're going sideways on top of this base here, so this base is the low, right? And this base is a higher low, and this base is backtesting this base. Backtest, 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 backtest. Eventually, it's gonna, shoot out. So also, this was Wyckoff accumulation, right? You have the 1, 2, and then you have this other 1, 2, and then you go into your spring phase, right? The spring, you grab the liquidity, then 1, 2, 1, 2 again. This thing looks like it's gonna go, but that's just an example of showing, something that doesn't need necessarily a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, sideways, because this one did a rise, dump, and then it went sideways, right? So if you just have this, then you don't necessarily need that retracement, but it's one of those one-offs, right? And I wouldn't say a one-off, because a lot of them are like that too. So just looking at, so Matic, I'm bullish here. Now, again, it could take some time, right? Doesn't mean it's going to happen tomorrow. Doesn't mean it's going to happen next week or even next month. But I think we're gearing up. We're gearing up for that moment, right? And this is the moment you want, right? So rise, crash, rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. You know, you want this sideways, and we're just gearing up. We're waiting for that green light, and then boom, and it can happen in an instant, right? So that's basically my primary ideas. Now, if this is, so you got all my ideas, right? So, but what about the bearish ideas? Let's talk about that real quick. So the bearish idea would be, you know, we get rejected by this trend line. We would come down, right, in this flag. Sort of we're flagging out in here, right? And you can say this is an A, this is a B, and now we're working on wave C. So we would come down here, right? So it'd be like a 1 or a WXY. That's what it would be. So WX, and then we come down for Y. So WXY, WXY, WXY. So WXY is 333. ABC is 535, right? Or 335. So this whole thing would be a W, X, and Y. There you go. And those are all the ideas that I have for you. I gave a bunch of bullish ones and one bearish one, but the bullish ones all sort of line up with each other. That's why I'm actually more bullish. Now, if this thing really wanted to be bearish, it would come all the way down here and back test, 4 cents or so, which would be crazy, right? It would be unheard of, right? So you have this base, you break out of the base, but then it never came back down to back test the base. So once it does that, then it can go. Do I think that's going to happen? I don't think so. And if it does, we're not even near there yet, so there's no reason entertaining that idea when, a TA is not about knowing which one it's going to be. It's about ruling out which one it's not. So until we can rule it out, right, then we don't need to talk about it. So, for example, if the bullish count doesn't play out and we start breaking this low, then we can rule out the bullish idea and then start to entertain the others, right? So, so the EMA ribbon, right? We are above the EMA ribbon. Let me go to the weekly. Exactly, the weekly. We are above the EMA ribbon. We are also above the bull market support band. We are also above the 200 week, the EMA ribbon, and the bull market support band, right? We had a 9 buy right here, right? We came down, hit the low again. We have this impulse off the low. We have a bullish correction, back testing the bull market support band. Guys, I think this is getting, this is setting up to be nice. You also have here, so you see these blue stars. Here, let me... So this is the lucid SAR indicator. So basically when the price is above the star, which it is, right? So you have, the price double bottoming here. See, here's the stars, resistance, resistance. We broke through the stars, and now the stars are acting as support, right? So that's bullish right there. Also looking at the RSI, you also have, you have a lot of room, for a more bullish action. It's starting to look prime, right? And you also have this sort of sideways, or this sort of consolidation right here. So you can see you have a bottom, double bottom, an impulse off the top, and then this oscillation in here. It looks like it wants to start shooting up. If we do shoot down, we got support down here. But more importantly is the MACD. Now you can see where we flipped positive some time ago, right? And now we're starting to go up. The histograms are green, so that's good. If I actually put this on the 2-week chart, yeah, it's starting to look even better. Look at that. It tells me we have more space, more room. Now let's see. Let's go to the 3-week chart. Yep, look at that. And look at that, we have a 9 also. So basically this 9 right here it's called a TD sequential. It basically says, look, we have an exhaustion. So when we have a green 9, like this was like right here, this was a 9 sell. You can see right here it told you get out, and guess what, that basically almost called the top of the bull run, right? Now obviously it didn't call the exact top because we went a little higher, but basically that 9 said, hey, we're getting exhausted. Then we came all the way down, and look at this, it said, hey, you should buy it. And it had a 9 buy, and then look what happened. After that 9 buy, we went all the way up, got rejected again, came all the way back down. Now look at it. Now we're on another 9 buy. We're on another 9 buy. So look at all the bullish things. You have a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. You have a contracting triangle. You have a 9 buy. You have the oscillators flipping bullish. You have an impulse off the bottom. You have a back test of the bull market support band. You have a double bottom here. I mean, come on. How many bullish things do you need, right? Now, the bearish things would be Bitcoin and the stock market and those being a basket case and imploding on themselves, right? So as long as Bitcoin stays bullish and everything stays okay, then it sets the environment for a very bullish Madic breakout. So I'm looking at this as a 1, 2, 1, 2, and we're about ready to get out of here. So, you know, another bullish idea, it would just take longer, would be this is an A, this is a B, and now we got to come down for C. So A, B, C, like that, right? And that would kind of be, you know, like a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that would be a W, X, Y, right? Now, the W, X, Y again can come all the way down here, but I don't think so. I think it's going to make a higher low here if it does come down. But right now, it's holding above the bull market support band. So there you go. If I go real quick, let's go to the monthly chart just for the fun of it. Oh, that's the 2-month. You can see the monthly chart, A, B, C, right? Or a 1, 2. This is why I'm bullish right in here. We have an impulse, a bullish pullback on the bull market support band. So until that band gets broken, I'm looking at it bullishly. And then also you could see, this is the monthly chart, remember, so it takes more time. You can see the histograms getting less, 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 and then you can also see, right, we're about to cross over. So when the blue crosses above the orange, right, and then we can flip green, I mean, this tells me we have a lot of future bullish potential on the horizon here for Madic. So there you go, guys. I hope you got some value out of that, hopefully, right? I think, you know, if you're holding Madic, I think you're in a good position. Now, remember, this asset went from nothing all the way up to $2.85. That's over 100,000%, right? So it's currently up about 32,000%. So just always, you know, keep that in mind, how much this thing has already went up, right? It's already got a major market cap. Not to say that it's not going to continue ripping, but just know how much percentages you have left, right? So looking at this, I say again, a good target to have would be this $4.50 area. And you know, you have targets up here at 6, 7, 8, all the way up to $11, right? So that would be a good target to have short term, and it looks very easily attainable. So yeah, that's it for Madic. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you can, please, if you made it this far, maybe consider leaving a like. You know, if I've earned your subscription, please don't hesitate and hit that subscribe button, and I will continue to make updates as the progress continues to unravel. Because for me, the popular videos that I'm getting right now is Theta and XRP. Now, I would like for Matic to be in that popular threshold. So if you want Matic, more Matic videos, then please let me know in the likes and in the comments. That way, I can touch on it more, because it's basically, giving what people want, which right now is Theta and XRP. So, but if you have an altcoin that I haven't taken a look at, or maybe I have, consider dropping it in the comment section, and I'll take a look at it. The video got a little too long. I was going to look at the price of ADA. Maybe I can do that in the next video, but this video will be primarily just Matic. And by the way, I did touch on, various others like QNT, right? Same type of thing. And XRP as well. So, yeah, if there's any other coins you want me to take a look at, please let me know. But until then, I will catch you on the next one. Cheers.